My fellow Americans, the global financial meltdown that began in 2007 has hit everyone in one way or another, and hit us all very hard. Among our friends in Europe, Greece has nearly collapsed, despite the receipt of an unpopular and sizable bailout from member countries of the International Monetary Fund and its EU partner nations. Ireland has begun to collapse, and Portugal is not far behind. Spain and Italy are on the verge of collapse, and it seems nothing can be done to stop this all from happening. The bailout funds have, thus far, only temporarily delayed the oncoming collapse for these countries, and have increased the debt problem shared by the nations who contributed to it. In our estimation, it is only a matter of time before the whole of Europe is in the throes of a complete financial meltdown. The federal government of the United States of America's first responsibility is to the citizens of the United States. While we recognize that the economy is really a global entity as opposed to a national one, we simply cannot continue to provide funding that we cannot afford to fix a problem that no amount of money will fix. Our national debt has grown beyond anything considered remotely reasonable, and our financial future is at stake. Our Federal Reserve, without the consent or knowledge of the Congress, made secret loans totaling $9 trillion, with a majority of that going to international banks in Europe. We assume that the supposed justification of loaning such vast amounts of money was to shore up European economies through their individual financial sectors. Obviously, that plan failed, and there is no credible reason to believe that more emergency funding will solve the issue or prevent the meltdown that is coming to Europe. In the interest of promoting the general welfare, we will perform a thorough audit of the Federal Reserve. Any debt to the Federal Reserve listed due to what we believe were illegal activities or conspiracies with other central banks or global entities on the part of the Federal Reserve will be nullified. Debts owed to other nations will be paid, as per the good faith and credit of the United States of America. The Congress will devise a new monetary system and create a new currency for the U.S., per their constitutional mandate to do so. The Federal Reserve note will continue to be honored for payment for the next 6 months. As a matter of national security and fiscal responsibility, we hereby declare that the United States of America withdraws from the UN, the WTO, the World Bank, NATO, the IMF, and will no longer provide bailout funds to banks, governments or entities within the U.S. or across the globe. Internally, any and all unspent stimulus funds will be returned to the Treasury immediately. We will phase tax cuts and spending cuts in over the next 18 months until federal spending is cut by at least 50% and taxes are cut across the board. This will involve many changes in our existing domestic and foreign policies. The current U.S. tax code is hereby rescinded and is replaced with a national sales tax of 15%. All goods and services will now bear a 15% sales tax in lieu of federal income taxes, payroll taxes, gasoline tax, taxes on vice, capital gains or inheritances. Additionally, the corporate tax rate will drop from 35% to 10% over the next 2 fiscal years. We believe this initiative will encourage international corporations to come do business in the United States and encourage U.S. companies abroad to return to America and put Americans back to work. Initial estimates are that this will create nearly 600,000 jobs over the next year and increase the GDP by $20 billion annually. Cutting revenues will require cutting expenditures. The first of these cuts will be the end of the contingency operations in Afghanistan and Iraq. Evacuation from these nations will be planned and completed within the next 60 days. As our military transitions from world policemen to a national defense force, it will downsize to a force appropriate for the defense of the 48 contiguous states, Alaska, Hawaii and all U.S. territories. We will maintain one small military installation in Germany and one in Japan. All others will be closed over the next year. We believe this will save our country over $3 trillion over the next 6 years. We will make additional cuts in federal departments, like the dissolution of the Department of Homeland Security, the Departments of Transportation, Education, Energy, the Food and Drug Administration, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco and Firearms, and drastic cuts in the Central Intelligence Agency. Many of the functions currently performed by these departments will become the responsibility of the individual states. A key change being made today is the legalization of hemp and marijuana. Both are now completely legal to grow, sell and use in all 50 states. Anyone currently in prison for nonviolent crimes involving the possession, use, sale, or distribution of marijuana is hereby released from prison and will have their criminal records expunged of these charges. This will save each state approximately $37,000 per inmate currently incarcerated for a victimless crime. The legalization of hemp and marijuana should also open up new revenue opportunities for states through taxation, create thousands of jobs, and create new ventures in chemical and textile industries. As we implement these measures, we will work diligently to predict changes and preempt potentially negative consequences. This will largely depend on the help, input, and innovation of the American people. This government was founded by and for the people. It is time that the people once again take full responsibility for the maintenance of our precious liberty. This present list of initiatives is not all-inclusive, and there will be more to come as we progress. We appreciate the support of our international friends and governments as we make these monumental and most necessary changes in our policies. We are certain you will all find successful means by which to turn your economies around, preserve and promote liberty, and be in accord with each other and the United States of America. Thank you, and good night.